This week in VCT, NAVI is now making me pull out my hair. Some veterans have now been benched. And what is happening with EDG's coaching staff? But before we get into that, let's first talk about some news that's been happening this week. Let's first talk about Klaus from Crew Esports, as he has been benched for MTA to rejoin. Now, I'm not too sure. I think I've saw reports that MTA might be the new IGL for this team. I also saw Wikipedia that Mel's is the IGL, even though Wikipedia is not that trustworthy with like IGLs and stuff. So I'm not too sure, but considering we will be talking about Crew's match obviously in this video, but I mean it didn't look that good in my opinion. So I'm not really too sure what's the point of this. I thought Klaus was going all right, but MTA he was struggling a bit in the beginning of the season. So I guess they maybe gave him some time. I think he also was off because of a broken wrist, I believe. So at least he's back now, but it's just I'm not really a fan of this change. I thought it was gonna be good, even without the roster changes, but apparently it was needed and MTA's back in. But yeah, the first match with him wasn't really the best. It wasn't his fault, but it wasn't the best. Now, do I count this as a rumor? I'm not too sure, but let's first talk about after. Now, it was reported by Chichu on stream that he was actually sacked by EDG and he's already in Taiwan. Is this true? I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen after I don't think on stage at all. It also shows how brutal the Chinese scene is. If you're not doing well, you're just cut. So, and after I mean, he's a very good coach. Like, obviously, he coaches EDG team of game 5th through 6th in Tokyo and in Champs. And even coached him as well to obviously have China's first ever international event in 2022, I believe. So it's a bit surprising, I'll be honest, but I mean, it was going to come at some point. EDG, they have not been looking good whatsoever. I mean, having Muggle in now as the coach is actually all right. I actually quite like that change because Muggle, he used to be a player himself. After, not really. I think it's better if a player transition to a coacher. I think that's probably better because they know the mentality, they know obviously how the game works and plays, so they don't really need to say any stupid shit. But I mean, I quite like this change, I'll be honest. I know it may not be popular, but I quite like it because after he was kind of on the chopping block after, I mean, the first couple of weeks for EDG in China has just been horrendous, and even during Master Shanghai was horrible. So it was kind of coming at some point. And the final one is Redgar, as he has been benched as well from Giant X, and Famzy gets the call up. Now, Famzy is part of UCAM Esports Club, I believe, and I think that team is also an affiliate partnership team with Giant X, I believe. Obviously, it hasn't been confirmed, obviously, but it basically is confirmed that UCAM Esports Club is the partner affiliate partnership team for Giant X, and I mean, this is all right. I mean, Red Guy, he hasn't really been performing like in the Gambit days where he was pretty, like, he was consistent. Now with Giant X, he hasn't been that consistent. So just like with EDG and after, it was kind of coming. I wasn't expecting to happen mid-season. That was something I was not expecting. However, Giant X, they still have a chance of making it to the playoffs. It's just looking a bit lower now, a bit of a lower chance now. But I mean, having Famsin is great. I think obviously he's been in the Valorant scene for quite a while now, and I think he definitely deserves to be in tier 1. So it's actually not too bad of a change, but still, I mean. I was not expecting this to happen mid-season. That was the last thing I expected. But I'm pretty sure, I think Cloud is the IGL, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, the change of IGL, though, and I mean, Cloud has not missed a beat whatsoever, even as the IGL. So, yeah, not too bad, I'll be honest. But, I mean, results-wise, still need a lot of work to do. Let's now move on now to Americas. First off with MIBL, as they played 2 games against Loud and 100 Thieves, and they lost both of them. Arts was MVP against Loud, while Paula was MVP against 100 Thieves. This was obviously Paula and Rich, they were in, so we didn't get to see Shazam and Paint that much. It was only like 1 game, and that was really about it. I kind of expected this, I'll be honest. It's sad that I expected it, but it is very expected. And hell, they've been eliminated from the playoffs. They are still as well the only team to not have a win to their name or even a single point to their name. So it's basically donezo for MIBR. Absolutely donezo. I don't think it's going to be a situation like last year where they upsetted a massive team and it's just a knife kill. Then well stuff, and then like a team like comes in and wins champs all of a sudden. I don't think it's gonna happen. But I mean, knowing Valorant, it maybe might happen, but I'll be very surprised if MIBI even gets a win throughout this week. Furia, they're looking alright now. They did win against Loud. MW0 is MVP, like always. They were eliminated from the playoffs though, so it doesn't really matter, but at least they still got a win, so now they have 2 points. They now have 2 wins other than 1 win. So it's alright there from Furia. They do look a bit better now, but it is just a bit too late. I mean, having Zan in the lineup was a brilliant idea in my opinion. I really, really like that. But it was just so late. And if they made that change during stage 1, they could maybe had a chance of making it to the playoffs and maybe even get more wins. But because they did it so late to the season, where they basically have no chance of making it to the playoffs, it's donezo. So it's great. It's actually a pity win. It's a pity win basically for Furia. So it's good that they won. It's just the roster change they made of adding Zand into the lineup was just so late. Loud. They continue to disappoint me. Yes, they won against MIBR, but then they lost against Furia. Counterteam was MVP against MIBR, while Pancada was MVP against Furia. This really shows that the whole QCK left was massive. They don't have an actual duelist player. Yes, you can say, yes, Sadlak is the duelist player for this team, but he's a very shocking duelist player. Even though he has played in on KO, and he mainly plays like Initiator and Smokes and stuff, but it's just why would you decide to get Pancada? Like, you already have Tuis who did play a bit of Jet actually, I think against MIBR, I believe. So there's that, but like, why don't you just get a proper duelist player? Why did you decide to get Pancada? Could have just kept Tui's on the controller role and then added another duelist player. I'm pretty sure Parla's a duelist. He was available. You could have gotten Parla, but you didn't. You decided to get Pancada for some reason. I mean, it's great that Pancada is back in the tier 1 team, but like, it's such a weird roles that they're doing. It's unfathomable. Like, I don't know what to think about the scene now because they don't have a full duelist. Their team comps all over the place. I don't know because this is what they get. They are just shitty now. They are just really bad. And yes, whole Brasilia as a whole has just been horrible. I mean, I'm sorry, but all 3 Brazilian teams have just been god awful. I mean, Loud getting second place in kickoff was great, and making it to Master Madrid was also great. But still, it was just it's just been such a shocking year for Brazil. As well, shocking for NRG, as they played 2 games against G2 and Crew. They won against Crew, but then lost against G2. Ethan was MVP against G2, while Som was MVP against Crew. The Crew game, it was kind of expected, but it was just too close for comfort for NRG. Like, this team with basically, I was gonna say drivers for some reason. Players who have won in the international events are performing like this is a massive disappointment. And considering that Shet, he is looking to go to CS, and Tazuku, I just remembered, he's the assistant coach role. So I'm guessing Tazuku might be getting more of like head coach role, while Shet is shopping around for CS. But it's just been looking really bad for NRG, as well as like the stuff that they have. I mean, they have what's his name? The lineup Larry guy, Vlad something. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't remember his name, but you know what I mean on Twitter. I think he used to be something. I think he used to work for Five Flex Esports, I believe. So with like the amount of stuff that they have, and they're still shitty. I'll be honest. It really worries me. Well, hell, at least they got a win against Crew. That's good. But G2, I mean, yikes. Evil Geniuses, they lost against Leviathan, and Derek was MVP. From where, well, actually, I should say from when they started in Stage 2 and they were just on a hot streak, I legit thought they were just gonna go undefeated. Apparently not. But I mean, EG, they look really good. I'll be honest. Still, throughout the stage, which is a good sign for them. Making it to the playoffs. I'm pretty sure they actually are in the top 6. I believe. Might be wrong, but either way, I mean. It is Leviathan. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because Lev are a very, very, very good team. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Them literally being shit. But I mean, this still has some alright ideas. I mean, Jogmer, he was still pretty good, even though he wasn't the MVP this week. He was still pretty good for EG. Nature was he's the IGL. A plus, it was alright. Superman was also kind of alright, but it was very quiet week for EG. That's really all. Cloud9, they lost against Sentinel. Zeppo was MVP, not Oxy, because Oxy just had a wildly shit game. Like, I had a look, and it was just horrible. Like, it wasn't Oxy's day. That's what it was. It just was not Oxy's day. Zeppa, he was pretty good, though. Rooney was also alright as well, but I'm pretty sure after this game, I think he tweeted out that he's sick of losing. I think everyone is. I'll be honest, Cloud9. I think everyone, Fury are sick of losing. MIB are sick of losing, mate. You're not the only one who is sick of losing. Everyone is sick of losing. So, I don't know why Rooney would do that. I mean, obviously, everyone's sick of losing. But for Cloud9 as a whole, I mean, they're very consistent. They're very mid-pack. That's all I can say. They're just very, very mid. Nothing else I can really add, I'll be honest. It's just, they're just incredibly mid. Crew Esports, they lost against NRG. Kerstin was MVP. This was also the first game with MTA back in after kickoff, I believe. I'm pretty sure last time I think we saw MTA. He was alright. It was just alright. I mean, this team. How they fell off, not really. I mean, they only played, what, 2 games so far in this stage, so they still have a bit of time, maybe possibly catch back up. I mean, hell, I'm pretty sure they are still in the top 6, I believe. So there's still a chance that Crew would actually make it to playoffs, but I don't know because from the 2 games that they've been performing, yes, one of them against Sentinels, so I give them the benefit of the doubt. NRG though, that was a match that I expected Crew to win, but that didn't happen. So my question is now, what is happening to this team? Was really swapping Klaus for MTA really the correct move? Because I would have maybe preferred Klaus back in, but I don't know. I generally have no idea what to think about the team now, because now with the rush change of Klaus out and MTA back in, I just need to see a bit more from Crew with MTA, and then I could probably make a judgment. But as of right now, they lost to NRG. It's not looking good for them. G2 Esports, they this time, unlike Crew, won against NRG. Leaf was MVP. Not too bad. I mean, I kind of expected G2 to win, I'll be honest, against NRG. So this wasn't a surprise whatsoever. But Leaf, he's been really consistent for G2 throughout this stage. So that's a great sign there for G2. They're still in the hunt of making it to the playoffs, so it's looking good right now for G2. I'm really happy with how they've been performing. So it's pretty good there for G2. I mean, Trent, he's been alright. I see he has been up and down really. Like sometimes, some days he'll be really good and look like one of the best players in the game, and then the next one he's just been looking pretty mid and alright. So they're a very inconsistent team, but I mean, at least Leaf has been very consistent. That's all that matters. Leviathan, they played 2 games against 100 Thieves and EG, and they won both of them. Very impressive there from Lev. Aspas was MVP on both of them. I'm just not surprised. I mean, they qualified the playoffs. What else do you really expect from this team? It's Leviathan. That's all. Yes, they fumbled hard in Master Shanghai. I mean, no one could disagree with me on that. They fumbled massively at Shanghai, but now they've been looking good. They're back to their mojo. They're back of making some good decisions. Our spots is still popping off. It's been looking really good so far for Lev. They qualified the playoffs. It's looking good. So I think they also got first and second now. So I think they have the first 2 seeds. So it's looking good now for if you're a Lev fan. 100 Thieves, they played 2 games against Leviathan and MIBR. They won against MIBR, but then lost against Leviathan. Arsenal was MVP against Leviathan, while EU was MVP against MIBR. What else I really have? I mean, I'm not surprised that they won against MIBR or they lost against Lev, I'll be honest. I mean, they took a massive step back from where they were in Stage 1, where they were looking like maybe the best team in North America, and even Challenger as well to win in Masters Shanghai. They weren't. They weren't even the furthest NA team to make it. That was G2. So, I mean, that loss well against Furia definitely knocked them down a bit. And I mean, as well with Boostio saying that if he loses against Furia, he will retire. Yeah, let's see how long that goes for. But I mean, they got a win still this week, so that's still a great sign. But they still have not made it to the playoffs yet, and I think they're around the bubble, I believe. So yeah, if you're a 100 Thieves fan, might be sweating a tiny bit. And the final America team is Sentinels, as they played against Cloud9. Zekin was MVP. I'm not surprised about him. Sentinels, they're unlike 100 Thieves. They are now back to their mojo like Leviathan. They struggled a bit in Stage 1. They were kick-off champions for the Americas region, and they even won Masters Madrid. So with them now back in from where they were, it's a great sign for Sentinels. And even as well, they qualified to the playoffs. That's also a good sign as well. They don't really have to worry about anything else. They can just focus on the playoffs, focus on strats. So it's looking really, really good there for Sentinels. They do have a pretty good chance of making the champs, but we'll see how that goes for China now, as they have been, they've just been a wild west. Let's first about Titan Sports Club, as they won. They won against FunPlus Phoenix. Basically, the worst team in China being not the best team in China. This region is so all over the place, and I love it. Arbor was MVP, but it didn't matter because they're eliminated from playoffs. Yes, you got your pity win against FPX, but you still lost in the meantime. This was a TEC I was not expecting to see. Maybe as well, FPX, that entire team struggled. TEC, they looked really, really good. If they didn't look good, they were just looking like normal TEC, and FPX was just looking like a shitty team. So, I mean, that obviously might be the reason for it, but it's still an alright showing there from TEC, though. I mean, their roster, on paper, should be really good. They have RB, they have Arbor as the IGL, they have AC, who has surprised me a bit throughout the season. They also have Black as well, who's been really consistent. I think they also have QE as well, or maybe he left. I can't remember right now. But they have been just, I mean, they've just been so inconsistent. Like one day they'll be looking like a team that would be in contention of making the playoffs, and the next day they'll be looking like the MIBR of China. So it's just I don't know. Like this team's just so up and down. I just don't know what to think about this team. A team I could definitely judge is Tyloo. They are just really, really shit. That's all I could say. HFMI, yes, was MVP. They did lose against JD Gaming. It's just, I have so much faith in this team when they made those coachings and those roster changes. I will die on that hill that those roster changes of Tyler was super good for their team for long term. And then they fucked it all up and exploded their roster once again. They need to stop exploding their roster. They need to stop. Roster changes can't change everything. It's the coaches as well, which obviously, yes, they made. But why the hell would you get rid of Shy Shy? I'm still molding over that. I think Shy Shy is still a great coach. There's a reason why that he coached the Edward Gaming Chao Hui team to GC champs. So it's just really stupid from Tyloo. But I mean, they've just been really shit. I'll be honest. I'm sorry. They've just been looking really, really, really bad. They were eliminated from playoffs, so they could maybe do some super shit somehow and win against Edward Gaming, for example, which I don't think can happen because I don't think they've versing each other. So yeah, it's just I don't know what to say. I'm tired of talking about this team. Well, I'll be honest. I'm just so tired of it, just because they've just been so bad throughout this entire year. Remember what I said about Wolves actually maybe making some noise and flipping the playoff picture on its head? Well, they did that. They won against Dragon Ranger Gaming. Eurocall was MVP. And that also means when we talk about DRG, they're gone. So, but Wolves, they played really, really well. I mean, this was maybe the best like match I've ever seen from Wolves. They've been looking really, really good. There is Ross change as well of now Sherry Fat Baby now in the lineup. Now really good. They actually have a proper IGL because I hated place as the IGL, so that's great. Just really good. So I mean, Yuriko, he's been looking really good as well. Spring, he kind of struggled. Plex was also really good, which also surprised me. So I guess it shows that he wasn't really made to be an IGL. Like, if it was Billy Gaming IGL, I would love it. But because this is a different type of IGL from Plex, I was just not having it. But it's a great showing from Wolves. I mean, they've already been eliminated, so it doesn't really matter. But I mean, if they do keep this roster or keep half this roster and they just build off this momentum, they could maybe contend for Masters and Champs for next year. NAVI esports have fallen off. I don't know what the hell happened to them. I remember they were like 6th place and now they're in 8th. What the hell? They did lose against EDG though. Guang was MVP, so I guess it's not really it's not really a surprise that they lost against EDG. But this is also the same EDG as well that doesn't have after, and they have been struggling to for the start of the stage. So does it really show that EDG has improved, or does it show that Nova is just inconsistent like most of these Chinese teams are? Because the main topic of China really is inconsistency. Every single team are inconsistent, and Nova is a big one. They were looking like one of the best teams, and now they're looking pretty mid. I mean, it's just a true fact for Nova because obviously I and most other people as well didn't have any faith on this team, but now from what we've seen and the roster changes they made as well is looking pretty good for Nova. And they are now as well on the cusp of making it in the playoffs against our next team, JD Gaming. These two teams are basically neck and neck of who is going to make that playoff spot. Now, I think JD Gaming, is done with their matches this week. So basically, they just need to hope that Nova loses, and then they'll be in the playoffs, which would be crazy. I mean, JD Gaming, from where they were at the start of the season, looking like one of the worst teams in China, to now in contention making the playoffs is crazy. They did win against Tyloo. Zion was MVP, which is quite surprising. Stu, he was nowhere. Where was Stu? Where'd Stu go? Stu was nowhere. So I mean, it was still a great showing there from Zion. I mean, Zion definitely put his team on his back, and he was just great. He was just really good. And with the changes that they made as well, this is what it looks like when the changes actually work and they're logical. Because some of the changes that some of these teams have been making in China have been like, why would you make this change? JD Gaming, I was like, I understand these changes because this team wants to improve and they want to compete to make it into international events. That was basically the whole moral of that team when they signed the Rare Adam Cole plus Chikoro, because the Rare Adam Cole was just so good. So I'm really happy that JD Gaming is now back, officially back, I should say. So I hope that they do make the playoffs. I do have a bit of a soft spot for JD Gaming because I've just been watching this team. It's just been so depressing to watch them. But with them now in contention making the playoffs, I'm so excited to see if they do. Billy Gaming, they also won against Dragon Ranger Gaming to qualify to the playoffs, and YZ was MVP. Pretty good showing that from Billy Gaming. I mean, this is also an example as well of good role changes actually working out. I mean, Neff coming in was great, and him as well the IGL was also great because Bear, he wasn't the best IGL. Levius was not the best IGL. Apparently, I think Bianca was the IGL at some point. He wasn't that good. So we're now with Billy Gaming qualified to the playoffs. They have a solid IGL of Neff. They're flexing as well, who is really good. It's now a great showing there from Billy Gaming. So it's really good. I'm really happy about that because this team, this org especially, is so well known in China that if they don't make it to the playoffs, they're just relevant now to all the Chinese fans. So I'm glad that they have. So let's just see if they do keep up their momentum into the playoffs. Another team which has also locked himself into the playoffs is All Gamers. They did lose against Trace Esports, so Soul9 was MVP. Who knew the IGL was gonna be the MVP here? But this team and All Gamers have steadily improved from kickoff to stage 1 to now stage 2, 5th place. They're looking really good. And this team, I mean, if the likes of FPX, TE, which, like FPX and Trades, if they don't, like, if they make it to champs, all gamers might be knocking on the door of champs. Who the hell saw that coming? I mean, we're no EDGs of the M because of points and stuff, so that doesn't really matter. So, if let's just say it was EDG, FPX, and TE, Tracy Esports, I should say, qualified so they qualified the champs via the playoff system. All gamers could maybe make it if they just win in playoffs, because on our next team, they're gone. Dragon Ranger Gaming, the team that was on everyone's hearts in Miles Shanghai, is now eliminated from playoff contention just because of their loss against Wolves Esports. They also lost against Bilibili Gaming, but it does not change the fact that maybe the biggest upset, maybe so far in VCT, or definitely up there, is Wolves being now Dragon Ranger Gaming, a top 5, possibly as well, maybe top 3 contending team, and is now gone from the playoffs. That is crazy. Tiberius League was MVP against Bilibili Gaming, while Vikash was MVP against Wolves. It was just such a shocking performance from Dragon Ranger Gaming. Like, I am disappointed in them. I really am. Because this team they have such great pieces. Vikashu, Tiberius Luke, Nick has the IGL. He's a pretty underrated IGL in my opinion. Nizal TCH, who left FPX to join this team, and Sean7, who is kind of alright, we'll say. Is the problem maybe with Yu Chien leaving to become a player? Maybe. But this team has just fallen off from grace. It's just so sad to watch. And I think with that, I think we should move on before it gets depressing. Trace Esports, they won against All Gamers. Kai was MVP. They've also qualified to the playoffs as well. And Trace, they've been looking really, really good as well. The roster change as well, adding Biang is a good, solid support lineup now. With like Heibei in as well. So it's pretty good. It's alright, we'll say. It's alright for Trace Esports. So they've just been looking really good. They've been looking consistent. They are also maybe as well knocking on the door possibly as well of beating out FPX and Edward Gaming from how they've been just because of how they've been performing throughout this week. So there's definitely a chance that Trace Esports could surprise them in the playoffs. FunPlus Phoenix. Okay, let's talk about them now. They lost against Tyson Esports Club. Life was MVP. What the fuck are they doing? Seriously, what are they doing? This team should basically be the bar setter for this region, and for them to lose to TC like that is absolutely disappointing from the team. Like, it's so I'm angry. I'm pissed off, and we haven't even gone to EMEA, which I'm more angry at a certain team. But this team was just so shocking against TEC. I hope that they do bounce back from this, because if they continue to fall off from this performance, could we maybe see FPX on the talking point of the biggest flop of this year? From, yes, they were the best in Madrid, but we kind of expected that. From being the best team in Master Shanghai out of all the Chinese teams, and then as well being really, really consistent at the start of the stage, and then falling off against TEC. It might be just maybe like a bump on the road, possibly, in this stage, but it's just, we can't change the fact that they lost against TEC. I mean, it's great for TEC, it's a massive upset for them, but because they lost against TEC in such convincing fashion, it's just, I'm very worried to see if they do bounce back from it, because he was really good, everyone else was kind of shit. So yeah, it's just, they need to work on it. There's something they need to work on, especially for the playoffs as well, because they've already made it, so it doesn't really matter. But still, it's something worth noting. And the final Chinese team is Edward Gaming, as they did win against NAVI, was pretty convincingly. Kang was MVP, and is this EDG back? Maybe. I mean, Simon has been pretty consistent for the team as well. Great IGL, even though I think he's not back in the IGL. Might be wrong. Maybe nobody saw the IGL for some fucking reason. But, I mean, it's still a good showing there from Edward Gaming. They went against Nova. But now they're going to be versing Billy Gaming next. and Billy Gaming, they have been improving consistently. EDG, they have not been improving other than this game where it's like a slight improvement. But I mean, could we see Billy Gaming winning against EDG? There's definitely a possibility on that. But hopefully EDG can keep up their performance. Simon as well has been looking really good. Everyone else has been in the team has been looking really good. So there's definitely a chance that EDG could maybe win against Billy Gaming, but I'm not too sure. Now moving to EMEA, where I'm going to be molding at one particular team. But let's first start with Core as they won against NAVI. Very impressive from them. Shados was MVP. Now this Koi, I mean, they've been alright. I mean, they have been obviously at the very back throughout this entire season. Yes, they had that great performance in kickoff, but they just still. I mean, they kind of like some of the Chinese teams, like some of the Chinese teams as well from beforehand. That they look really good against one team, and then in the next very week they are just looking really shit. So I don't really want to push the envelope too much, and I think I did mention in my previous video that they were eliminated from playoffs. They have not been eliminated from playoffs. Apparently, there's still a fighting chance. You know, there's still a slight chance that Koi could make it to playoffs. It's very slim though, but there's definitely a chance if they do continue their performance, and if teams around them fumble, there's definitely a chance that Koi could make it to playoffs. A very forgettable week for Gentlemen as they lost against both Foot and Team Heretics, and Tank was MVP on both of them. I mean, it is Heretics and Foot at the same time, so I'm not surprised. I think they did make the Heretics game pretty competitive, so I'll give them that, but yeah, it's just yeah, like the coaching stuff as well was strange of having Mad Coach as a head coach now and extent on the inactive, which was strange. Cadavra as well in the team was a great sign. It's just it hasn't been a lot of improvement in their play style, we'll say. So something might also need to change as well for this team. Definitely in game if there's not comms working or something's not working in this team, because this team, I mean, they're all right. They're kind of where I expected them to be, but if they want to improve, they need to improve quickly, because if not, they will also be gone from playoff contention. Giants X now, they did lose against Team Heretics. Cloud was MVP, and this was also the first game so that Famsy was in the lineup. To be fair, they were alright. Giant X were just alright. They kind of just where I expect them to be. Famsy, he was pretty good. Not the best showing, but it was still pretty good. That's all I can really say. Could Red Guy maybe do better? I'm not too sure. But, I mean, from Famsy's performance, it was alright. So it's a pretty decent showing there now from Giant X if they do want to improve. But I'm not too sure, I'll be honest. But this team might be gone as well. Kind of like Gentleman and Koi. Kind of gone. So, yeah, it's not been a good year at all for Giant X. Team Liquid, they have slightly picked it up. They did win against Karma and Core. Enzo was MVP. Karma and Core, they have been slipping a bit, but for Team Liquid, this is a good win for them. A good morale boost. So they're still just like all these teams. I don't think any teams have been eliminated from playoff contention yet. So all these teams still have a chance of making it to playoffs if they somehow pull it out of their ass or something. But someone alright showing that from Team Liquid. It's pretty good. So yeah, I mean, that's really good. I mean, it's just been looking really good. And so he looked really good there. And everyone else been looking pretty good. I mean, this is also good as well for the coaching staff of Emil and Bacon 9. As at least their job is a bit more secure. But I expect during the off season, Emil and Bacon 9 might be gone. Alright, time for the rant segment. Navi, what are y'all doing? They lost against Koi. Zippin was MVP. They haven't got to not only a single win in the match, they haven't won a single map throughout this stage. This is unacceptable for this team. Of a team that basically is Copenhagen, Master Copenhagen winners. They have fall off. They have actually fell off from where they were. Honest, he has just been a completely different player. Ever since he was shaken by Billy Gaming Champions last year for NRG, he has not been the same. Like Angel, not been the same. Zipping has been alright. Shao, not been the same. Sugetsu has had some decent moments. But this team, something just did not click for them. Maybe it was that Eric was gone from the team. Maybe that was the problem that Navi had when Eric left. When Eric left the team, they just been looking really bad. So could it be that? Could it be something else? Could it be something behind the scenes? Could it be the players? Could it be comms? Could it be? It could be anything. I'll be honest about this team because this team has been looking so shit. They basically made Koi look like Fnatic. Like that is that if you somehow make Koi look like Fnatic, you know you're fucked up massively. So I don't know what needs. I generally think explode this roster at the end of the season. Everyone kicked out Navi, make a new roster because everyone in this team deserves to be dropped. In my opinion, everyone from how they've been performing, they have not made a single Masters event at all, and now it is looking like they would not be making it to champions. So without their kick everyone, in my opinion. Actually, I think they did make. I think no, yeah, they didn't make it a metro. Just realized, yeah, kick everyone. Even Latix, kick every single person, every player, every coach in his team, explode his roster and reset. It needs to be a hard, full mental reset for this team coming into next year because if they do continue this performance, they are not making the champs at all. There's no way they are. Now, in a tiny bit more lighthearted, I will say, we have BBL Esports to say, yes, it lost against Vitality, Brave was MVP, but I mean, actually, they didn't really make the game very competitive, I'll say. They really didn't. I mean, actually, I think it was actually a 2-1 victory, though, for Vitality, so it was actually a bit competitive from BBL, so that's a great showing there from them. But it doesn't change the fact that Foot Esports are better than them in regarding the Turkish powerhouse team, so I'm not surprised about this loss, but if you are a BBL fan, you're getting very envy of the Foot fans. Yeah, you might maybe need to start thinking of who you're supporting if you are a Turkish fan. But I mean, BBL at the same time they do have some like Turkish legends like Cora, for example, Brave, um, who else? Kishner X maybe as well. So there is definitely some Turkish legends in that team. But if we're talking about now 2024 and the firepower both these Turkish teams have, it's definitely Foot who has the advantage of them. But if we're talking about against Vitality, they look pretty good, all right. They've been looking all right. So it's still better than Navi. He seems better than Navi though. So that's all that matters. Team Vitality, speaking of them, they did win against BBL. Trax was MVP. This was a much better showing from Vitality compared to last week, where they just looked really shit. And I always say this, I have a massive soft spot for this team. Now, do they have a chance of making the playoffs? They do. Considering that Carmine Core has been slipping a bit, they have a decent chance. But I mean, they need to pull something to somehow make it to champs if they like if they don't make it via the top three, they do need to win, and they just need to hope that Carmine Core just flops out of the tournament, out of the playoffs, and Vitality like wins like 2 games or 3 games. So something needs to change for Carmine Core especially, but for Vitality, looking really good so far. Really impressed with them. Now Carmine Core, they lost against Team Liquid, which was extremely disappointing. Narrate was MVP. It's just this. Oh my god. This team from throughout this year has just been going downwards. I mean, it was kind of first showing in stage one where how long did it take them to get a win? I can't remember. Maybe the like during like the middle part of stage one where they just did not look good. And that was kind of when I was like, oh crap. I think they might have plateaued there. I think they are now going down the hill. So it's not looking good from this team. From a team that won in kickoff is now in fourth place and possibly not making it to, like, I guess maybe possibly outside of the top 5 if Vitality continues their run. I should be very worried if you are the Blue Wall. But considering that they do have a pretty big points gap between Vitality, it should be alright. I think they should still make it. But, I mean, anything can happen in Valorant, obviously. I mean, hell, look in China, for example. For the esports, did win against Gentlemen, and a captain was MVP, and I'm not surprised by this whatsoever as well. I mean, but they've just been looking really good so far, as well as like having like young talent like EDG in the lineup and having a star player of CNET. They've just been looking really, really good. So I don't have a lot of things to say about Foot. Not a lot of things. They've just been really, really consistent, really, really good. So I've been very, very impressed so far with this team. Team Heretics, my favorite team to talk about, as they obviously won against Giant X and Gentlemen. Both of them wins. Benji Fisher was MVP against Giant X, while Miniboo was MVP against against Gentlemen. Yeah, I mean, what else can I say? I mean, this team has been looking so good. It's actually impressive of them to see how they've been. Really, really impressive. So, and how they've qualified the playoffs. I think they're now secure their spot as well in the top 2. I am so impressed with this team. I do hope that they do win champs, because from their performance and as well just like from where they were last year as well, it's impressive to watch. So it's a great showing from Heretics. And the final region is Pacific, and first off with Bleed Esports. They did lose against Genji. Darion was MVP. To be fair, Darion, he was very good. He was really good actually. Definitely the best Bleed player in that game, and he was popping off against Genji. But it does change the fact that they did lose against Genji, and they still only have one win to their name. So even though yes, it is good, it is great showing them from Darion. It still doesn't change the fact that not only has they been eliminated from playoffs, as I think the playoff bracket has also been announced now. So well, not the playoff bracket, but the playoff teams have basically been confirmed. Yeah, stuff needs to change there for Belief for next year. Another team which probably maybe needs changing is DFM. Dedication Focus Me, as they did lose against Paper X, unsurprisingly. May was MVP. I'm not surprised by it whatsoever once again. I mean, DFM, they are just being very at the back. And even as well, they did get their first wins of basically of their all in partnership, which is great. Yeah, just like League, something needs to change. I'll be honest, both Japanese teams need to change something, and then I mean even Zeta, they would look shocking. So it's good showing them from DFM throughout this year, but if they do want to be competitive, yeah, they need to sort of do some changes. Maybe keep May, maybe as well. You can maybe keep Anthem, maybe, but I mean everyone else, you can maybe make an argument that some of these players need to leave, but I think if they do keep May and build around him, I think that'd be the best. I think that'd be the best decision for this team. But I mean, with them losing against Paper X, I'm just not surprised by it whatsoever. Global Esports. Yeah, they played 2 games against T1 and Genji. They lost both of them, and Polby was MVP on both of them as well. The T1 game was extremely important to them, because whoever wins still has a possible chance of making it to the playoffs. But the next one was Genji versus Bleed, so it did not matter. I'll be honest, of who won this game. But I mean, Global, they have also struggled this entire year. Their season is practically over. They're just playing now for fun. So it's practically over. I mean, they could. I don't know what changes they could make. I don't know if there's any rumors around that of changes that they could also make as well. But I'm not too sure, because this team is a bit of a question mark for me, because I can tell that they still want to keep this global name still in their roster. But yeah, it's not looking good so far for global, but maybe they can maybe turn around. But I mean, I highly doubt they can. T1, they did win against Global Esports. Easy was MVP, and this was also a very different looking T1. Rossi was out of the lineup, and Carpe was back in, and Xcured was commenting and was basically ideally in Korean, like Mr. Worldwide. Holy crap! Yeah, this was a much better looking T1 in my opinion. Have like who like I'll be honest. Rossi, he was extremely consistent. I guess it was just the language barrier which was hindering them a bit. Like, because I still think Rossi, he's a great player in my opinion. And I think that he should be in tier 1 because this team has been looking really, really good. So, well, not the team, but like Rossi as a whole has been looking good. So, should I say I'm a bit disappointed on this Ross change? A bit. But I guess it might be better for them maybe in the long term, we'll say, because I mean they're not making it into the playoffs whatsoever. But yeah, it's just I do feel bad for Rossi, but I do hope that he does find a home pretty soon. As for team as a whole against Global, pretty good. So I can't remember who they're versing next. Maybe that's the format of their farm match. I think they are versing someone, just don't know who. But I mean, it would be good showing that for them either way for the future. Talon Esports, they lost against DRX, and I really thought Talon were going to be favorites coming into this game, but they weren't. Cruz was MVP, yes, but yeah, it wasn't the best showing from Talon, I'll be honest, against a struggling DRX. So, is that a bit of a worry for Talon? I don't think so. I think they should be alright still. It's just DRX just I think just had better reads and stuff, and I can also tell that Marco is getting better on his IGL, but obviously we won't talk about DRX that much. But for Talon, I mean, it's just been alright. I mean, that's really bad. I mean, it was a very competitive game. It's just, I think they overheated a bit much, and they're still as well trying some new things of like roster changes and stuff, but it was not roster, like role changes and stuff, but yeah, Talon are a very weird team to judge, I'll be honest. So I can't really definitively say like, oh, this and that, but I can kind of like maybe tiptoe my way there. But yeah, Talon is just a weird team. Like I don't really have much to really say about this team, I'll be honest. It's just very, very weird. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they should really beat themselves up, beat themselves up over that. But they should be alright still, I'll be honest. ROQ, they lost against Paper Rex. Zafiro was MVP. And Munyet's former team against his current team did not work out for him whatsoever. Yeah, they were kind of slapped around, to be honest, by Paper Rex. But I mean, this kind of to be expected as Paper Rex. So, yeah, kind of just like Talon losing to DRX. I don't think ROQ should even be sweating that much, I'll be honest, because I mean, Paper X are a very, very good team, so no surprise about that. But yeah, I mean, they shouldn't really be swaying that much whatsoever. But I mean, it should still be alright, hopefully. Like they're still in like top four. I think like 3 teams could maybe make it to the playoffs by only points like RQ Talent and a team that we won't be talking about in this episode, Team Secret. All those 3 teams could still make it in via points. So and hell, maybe even via like playoffs if DRX falls off a cliff. So need to stop stressing that much, and they should still be alright. All of those 3 teams. As for RQ, Australia kind of struggled. Gem and Money, they were alright. I mean, more kind of struggled as well, but still, I don't think RQ should be swaying that much. DRX, they won against Talent Esports. Buzz was MVP, and yeah, DRX have been looking alright. I mean, definitely not like championship contending DRX as well as what we have all been used to, but still alright. I mean, Marco, he's been pretty consistent. Flashback has been pretty good, including Bane and Foxy9. Everyone has been pretty consistent, but there has been a lot of question marks over Termi and the coaching staff. Is he really the right coach for this team? I don't know. I mean, he definitely has the experience of coaching DRX, but does he have the experience of coaching a team without a proper IGL of stacks? Maybe not, but I mean, there's still maybe a chance that Termi should probably maybe still be in DRX, but they still have not qualified the playoffs. They have qualified the playoffs. They have gotten a seed in the top 2, so still a chance that DRX could easily make it to the playoffs. But I mean, I just from how they've been performing recently, I'm just very worried for DRX as a whole. Paper Regs, they've been looking really, really good. They won against both DFM and RRQ. Jing was MVP against DFM, while Devi was MVP against RRQ. Devi was very, very good. I think Mind Freak as well. I think got like a 61 headshot percentage. Like I think maybe in like the first map, I believe, or maybe throughout the whole match, which is crazy. So that's a quick shout out to Mind Freak. But I mean, the Paper X team has been looking really good. I mean, that's all I can really say. As well as with the new coach of Bulb in the lineup, it's great. It's great for the team as well to have, I guess, more than I guess just have more than one voice in the coaching staff, and as well to have Alex have a bit more help in the coaching role as well. So it's looking good so far for Paper Rex. But yeah, I mean, they've just been looking really good so far. They've been very, very consistent. So I'm very happy, very pleased of what I'm seeing right now from Paper Rex. And finally, Gen G Esports who qualified to the playoffs after their win against Bleed Esports, I believe. They also went against Global as well. Texture was MVP against Bleed, while Media was MVP against Global. Yeah, Gen G, they continue their dominance. Hey, they're continuing to look really, really good so far. Even though Paper X is basically right behind them via points, yeah, maybe as well right behind them is in like match wise as well as in like results and stuff. So these two teams, if the grand final is Paper X versus Gen G, that's gonna be a banging grand final to watch. I'm definitely gonna try and stream it, but we'll see what day it happens. But it's looking really good so far for Gen G. So really, really impressed from the Masters Shanghai winners. And they should be favorites as well of making it into champs. So it's looking pretty good so far right now for Gen G. Now for some challenges to report on, and that's mainly the MENA region, but we'll first start with GCC and Iraq split 2 results. It was Team Falcons continuing their domination in the region, being now Unity Esports in the grand final. So in results, we have Team Falcons, Unity Esports, Underground, The Ultimate, Fraggers, Twisted Minds, Dragon Esports, and Vision Esports. There will be your results. I think as well, Falcons and Unity, I think they're going to be competing against the top two of the Levant and North Africa split two winners, but we'll just have a look there. And the win as well of the Levant and North Africa split two results was already Esports as they made a 2-win roll in their region, beating that Team Brad in the grand final after losing to them in the upper bracket finals, basically. Followed by so in the results we have RID Esports, Team Brad, Nazar Esports, Onyx Ravens, Gamex Esports, Team Occupy, Top G's, GZ, I'm guessing, and Skulls Esports right now the region. I'm pretty sure maybe there's actually just the top 2 points teams. I think they will be competing against each other. So GCN in Iraq and Lamont in North Africa. The top two I'm pretty sure will compete to see who will be basically who would be uh, basically just representing the MENA region. That took me a long while to say what I want to say. But that is it for this, I guess, this Saturday special of this week in VCT. Now, like guys, to like, comment, subscribe. It would really help me, especially on this channel. And that's really about it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed the catch, guys. Until next time, in the next one, goodbye.